Okay, thank you, Bhavesh. This need to be addressed in our society, and we need to understand this mentality. We need to change our mentality about uh, homosexuality and uh, this type of things. So next, I would like to invite Pranali to talk about happiness, what is happiness basically is, and how we should proceed about it. Pranali, up to you. Okay. By the way, we are having Suraj Nisat sir in our meet, so I would like to invite Suraj Nisat sir to talk about little bit about this.
Pranali,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Now I am
Yes.
visible.
And start, share your PPT.
Yes, ma'am. Now my screen is visible, ma'am.
Yes, his screen is visible. And good morning, Suraj Nisad sir and Dr. Samir Vajpayee sir. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning to all. Good morning, sir.
नमस्कार.
आप लोग सुनिएगा, बच्चों को मोटिवेट करिएगा. लास्ट में आप लोग को भी बोलना है. चलो कंटिन्यू प्रणाली.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Pranali Mishram, and I am from Biomedical Engineering. My topic is temporary happiness and continuous happiness. Before going to the main topic, we should know about what is the happiness. What is the happiness? So happiness is an emotional state or a mental state which is characterized by the feeling of joy, satisfaction, and the fulfillment. It is a positive emotion which is ranging from the contentment to the intense joy, and also it is the good fortune. Happiness is required for the self, that means for I and for body also. Why happiness is important in our life? We many times listening, the happy people are more successful in their life, and also they have a less stress, they live longer life, and they maintain the better relationship in their life than unhappy people. I would like to say some sentence here. Happiness is the secret of all the beauty. There is no beauty without happiness. That means अगर हमारे जीवन में खुशियां है तो हमारे आजू बाजू का जो परिसर है वह हमें अच्छा लगने लगता है, सुंदर लगता है. अगर हमारे जीवन में खुशी ना हो तो कुछ भी अच्छा नहीं लगता है. So keys to happiness. There are lots of keys to happiness. When we are playing any game with friends and watching the new release movie, and also the listening the short stories from our grandpa and grandmas, these all are the keys of happiness. On the basis of these, the happiness is of two types. There is the temporary happiness and continuous happiness. First of all, we discuss the temporary happiness. What is the temporary happiness? The temporary happiness is the short time happiness which is required for the physical facilities, and also the need of the body is called the temporary happiness, which is temporary in time. So the name, frame, money, and also the food, clothing, shelters are all these are needed only for some time, some amount of time, which is a temporary in time. Hence it is the temporary happiness. Sources of temporary happiness. There are lots of sources of temporary happiness. For example, when we are eating delicious food, and also from drinking alcohol, some people gives the temporary happiness. Our current education system also provide us the temporary happiness that temporarily trigger the release of a dopamine in our brain. Hence from that we get the temporary happiness. Explanation. Let's take an example. We receive the many messages in our phone, that is the stupid like jokes and stickers which are we receive in our phones and WhatsApp. These from this also we get the temporary happiness. The temporary happiness is a money based happiness. Which way we get the temporary happiness? From different ways we get the temporary happiness. From right understanding, sometimes from misunderstanding, sometimes from lack of understanding we get the temporary happiness. From physical facilities which gives us the short time happiness, these are also included in a temporary happiness. Here is the continuous happiness. So what is the continuous happiness? Continuous happiness is being in harmony within oneself. or being in harmony with the others, and also being in harmony with the natures. It is a long-term happiness, and it is the long-term happiness and is the needed of the I, which is a continuous in time. These are all the include in a continuous happiness. Sources of continuous happiness. There are so many sources of continuous happiness, but here I wrote only 5 key sources. That is the security, outlook, autonomy, better relationship in life, and also when we are doing the skilled and meaningful activities from which is a release related to the self happiness. These are all included in a continuous happiness. In a continuous happiness, the prime goal for a human being is to gain the right understanding of inherent harmony and coexistence within oneself, and also at a various level to learn to live in accordance with it. From that we get the continuous happiness. In continuous happiness we justice with human. That means our behavior within oneself and also with others, like a trust, respect, care, love, relationship, prosperity, fearlessness in family and society, glory, gratitude. All these are the base of continuous happiness. The fourth point is which way we get the continuous happiness. From different ways we get the continuous happiness. From right and evaluation, understanding, and the assessment of my family, we get the continuous happiness. From right understanding with individual, from family with family, friends, and also with parents, we get the continuous happiness. Here I would like to say some short story. That is there is a person in a village. Means अगर कोई गांव में कोई person है, आज भी रहते हैं, जो जिनको पैसों से शान शौकत से कुछ लेन देन नहीं रहता, उनको सिर्फ उनके साथ उनके घर परिवार के लोग आजू बाजू में रहे और उनके ऊपर विश्वास रखे और उनसे प्यार करे, और उनके गांव के लोग जो रहे वो गांव छोड़कर न जाए. तो यह जो है हैप्पीनेस उससे जो मिलती है वह कंटिन्यूस हैप्पीनेस से रिलेटेड है. बल्कि अगर कोई जमींदार वगैरह रहता है तो उन्हें सिर्फ पैसों से, शान शौकत से और बंगले से वगैरह लेन देन रहता है, तो वह टेम्पररी हैप्पीनेस से रिलेटेड एग्जाम्पल है. At the end, here is the quote related to this. The key is to being happy is knowing you have the power to choose what to accept and what to let go. That means हमारे जीवन में हमें यह शक्ति है, अधिकार है कि किस तरह का हैप्पीनेस हमें स्वीकारना है और किस तरह के हैप्पीनेस को हमें नहीं स्वीकारना है. यानी कि चाहे वो टेम्पररी हैप्पीनेस रहे या कंटिन्यूस हैप्पीनेस रहे, हमें जीवन में हमेशा खुशी पाना है. इसलिए खुशी रहो और खुशियां पाओ. थैंक यू. थैंक यू.
Thank you, Pranali. It was a wonderful presentation. So we are having a senior also in our meeting, Amrita ma'am. Amrita ma'am currently pursuing MBA degree from IIM Calcutta. So Amrita ma'am will be sharing her personal experience about how she take care of her mental health. Amrita ma'am, up to you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, great.
Turn on your video, Amrita, on your video.
Yeah, I have switched on.
Yes, yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. I'm Amrita Mishra. I'm a computer science and engineering pass out from batch 2020, and I am going to talk about my mental health startup that we started in 2020 and how what are the lessons that I learned from it. So before we started our startup, which is Avsar.live, some of you might have heard about it. Before we started it, we conducted a survey across all the pan-India colleges, and there were more than 2,000 respondents to that survey. And what we found out was very surprising. We found out that more than 33% of students have had suicidal thoughts at least once in their lifetime. We also figured out that more than 66% of those people, so which would be around 700 of those people, they did not even know whom to talk to about all these issues. So you can imagine that how big a problem this is, and and it is so important to deal with it. So the major causes of mental health were these, like academic failures. So if you don't do well in an examination, if you fail in an examination, if you get backs, a lot of backs, right? That can be a source of mental stress. There are relationships. So for example, if you get with a partner, if you get an argument with them, there are breakups and all. There are family issues. There are issues with the relationships with the teachers or other friends in the college, right? That can lead to a lot of stress. The third thing is financial. So it is kind of obvious. I don't think I need to explain it very much. So there are a lot of causes of stress, and we need to learn to deal with it. So how can we deal with it? Firstly is academic. One thing is that you can actually reach out to counselors, first of all, but there is a lot of stigma associated with it even today. So what else can you do? You can reach out to your friends, you can reach out to your seniors, you can reach out to people who have been through that situation. That helps a lot in a majority of cases. I personally spoke to more than 30 students and understood their journeys and their pain points throughout their journey, like whatever they were going through. Some of them even spoke to their parents about their personal issues, and that was extremely helpful for them. So if you think that your parents are old people and they won't understand your problems, it is not the case. You can definitely speak to them. I talk to my mom about everything. So it is completely natural. And you must have friends, right? Everyone does have like at least one person. And if you don't want to talk to anyone, that is also completely fine. Just don't act on your emotions. It's completely okay to feel them, but you should not act on them very immediately. Give yourself a lot of time. Take care of your mental health. So you can start by maybe writing down. I have been writing in a journal since the last 4 years now, and it has helped me to a great extent. It has helped me give a lot of clarity of thought, and I have introspected a lot of situations that I could not have like dealt with otherwise. So writing has helped me a lot. You can use a journal and you can start writing. The second thing that you can do is like meditating, taking a walk around, exercising. A lot of people see it as a way to release the stress, and that helps and that works for them. So you can definitely do that. More other than that, if you can reach out to someone, that would be the best thing. Some of my friends have also faced this unfortunate situation that people have judged them for expressing themselves. Don't reach out to those kind of people. They're not the right kind of people. If someone judges you for expressing your emotions, it is not your problem, it is their problem. So don't reach out to such people. Reach out to other people who would listen to you patiently, who would help you in getting out of that situation. And the best thing you can do is definitely reach out to counselors. I think Hina ma'am takes a lot of care for anyone who has ever reached out to her. I've heard it from a lot of people. So do reach out to her. And remember that you are not alone in any of these things. And you can deal with it. And this is just a phase. It will get over. Happiness will come. You can create your own happiness. That is it from my end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
If
for
there
your
are
time.
any questions, then please let me know.
Amrita, please share the link to your this thing app on chat so that the students can follow that.
Yes, sir, sure. I'll share the link in the chat. Okay, then thank you so much, everyone, for your time, and thank you for listening to me. Have a good day ahead.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Amrita.
Amrita.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Amrita.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And I think lots of startup picking up in that mental health space. So it is great to having this type of startup. and this type of people. So next is something about education system. What is actually our education system is and what it should be. Is there any flow in our education system? So I would like to invite Aditi to talk about right education system. Aditi, up to you.
Yes. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I am Aditi Gachpal and I am going to speak on the right education system. So we already know from the discussions we had today and yesterday that suicide is a big problem in India. But why is that? Why are people unhappy in spite of achieving all the professional success? What's the core of the problem and what can be the long-term solution? All our lives in schools, in colleges, we've been taught so many subjects. We should score well and do better. And the better we do academically, the better our lives will be in the future. That's what we've been taught all our lives. Our current education system focuses on our professional skills, and while those skills play a major role in our lives, there is much more we need in order to lead a successful and happy life, not just professionally, but physically and mentally too. From what we've learned in this webinar, we understand that the focus of the current education system has been on temporary happiness so far, which results in disharmony and imbalances in humans and nature. So, what do we actually need to be happy? Physical facilities like the schools have been teaching us? Yes, we definitely need them. But with these physical facilities, we also need right understanding and good relationships. We need a proper balance between all these three parts. Physical facilities and material needs that constitute the animal consciousness, right understanding of ourselves and of the world and people around us, and as social creatures, we also need good, fulfilling relationships. We need harmony with the people and environment around us in order to be happy. So, the ideal education system is the one that focuses on all these aspects that we need in order to be happy and to lead a happy and fulfilling life. This is the main aim of education system. It is to convert animal consciousness to human consciousness. It should prepare an individual to be able to function in the real world by focusing on our understanding of ourselves, our interpersonal skills, as well as the professional skills, so that in the end, we get prepared to live a fulfilling and happy life that is in harmony with ourselves, the people around us, as well as the environment we live in. So let's see some changes or additions to the current curriculum that could be helpful in creating the education system we require. First and foremost, we need value education as an integral part of our curriculum. From lower primary classes to colleges with a proper curriculum. As I've mentioned in the PowerPoint presentation, children need proper guidance in terms of managing their emotions and actions so that they can grow to be responsible and sensible individuals. It helps them develop their self-esteem and confidence so that they can feel free to express themselves and have healthy relationships with themselves and the people around them, and learn how to deal with the problems they might face in life. Now, although physical activities are being encouraged, they are still not taken seriously. It needs a proper curriculum, and students need to be taught the importance of strong and healthy body with a healthy mind. Next, very important component is sex education, because especially in India, with all the stigma, the very important topics such as menstrual health, STDs, consent in relationships, and as the previous groups presented, SAGE, are often overlooked. Children need to be provided a safe space where they can learn and understand the changes they experience during puberty, which can be quite overwhelming they need to be taught healthy ways of sexual expression, hence preventing inappropriate behaviors. Children also need to be given space to create and innovate. They should be motivated towards original thinking by rewarding creativity and including biographies in general of great personnel to help them get good role models for their lives. Right. Yes. Financial education is also important so that they can learn effective ways of managing their income and become responsible citizens who pay their taxes on time. Children should also be encouraged and guided to explore and choose streams of their choices, and instead of being belittled for their choices, they should be properly educated on the scope and opportunities the stream of their liking offers. They should be provided with career guidance and placement cells to assure them and provide them with proper employment opportunities. As every student has different strengths and weaknesses, comparisons can affect their self-esteem, social skills, and cause enmity and jealousy between children. So healthy competition should be encouraged instead of comparisons. And children should be provided with problem-based learning systems to avoid rote learning, since we usually have access to all the information we need in form of internet, books, and colleagues. The students need to be taught the applications of the information. With the increasing use of technology, children of course need to learn how to handle these gadgets and be provided with the inspiration to innovate themselves. Also, the educational institutes need a good student-to-teacher ratio so that every student can get guidance, and the curriculum should be designed so that all students get motivated to choose and explore different areas of their interest. Now, there should be a specified amount of time that children should be allowed to deal with stress and frustrations they might face in their lives. This could train them in dealing with their mental health by giving them time to process and heal their emotions. Also, the education systems should be free of politics so that there is no discrimination or favorism towards a certain religion, caste, gender, or any other social or political group. Lastly, the educational institutes need well-trained teachers, especially for the younger classes, since their experiences in school play a major role in developing their personality for the rest of their lives. Teachers should be able to communicate with students without any bias or insensitivity and serve as positive role models in their lives. So, in conclusion, we need an education system which is inclusive at all levels and prepares an individual to face any problems that they might face in life, physical, mental, or emotional. It is supposed to be a tool to help an individual find their path and happiness in life. Thank you. Over to
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, Aditi. This was very insightful, and I think for education system, this is not only purpose to giving bookish knowledge. It should be giving you the knowledge about how to deal with the loneliness, how to deal with anxiety and this type of suicidal thoughts. And for that, I think this type of seminars and webinar and value education class is really helpful. So I think this should be promoted at school level also. So for being less said, I want to invite Subham to talk about human needs. Subham.
Okay, Lakhan, I'm here.
Okay.
Let me present my screen. Is the PPT visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Subham Sonkar from Biomedical Branch, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to present a topic of human needs, PPT. So let's get started. What do you mean by need? So anything we are lacking is called need. In our life that we lack is called need. So I have categorized two things, two parts, needs in two parts. First is physical needs and second is mental needs. So physical needs contain the foods, clothes, house, and health, etc. And mental needs consist of happiness, trust, respect, and relationship. Moving further, I have said aloud humans. Humans. What do you mean by human when I said human? Human is divided into two parts. That is I, मैं, and body. That is sharir. So anyone can tell about what is I or मैं? Is there anyone who can tell about I or मैं? So let me introduce you about I or मैं. I or मैं is basically our soul. When we say I or मैं, we are talking about our soul. And when we talk about body, we are talking about a biological device which we are having. Like our body, it consists of hands and other things like biological things. So this is it. I, that is soul, and body, that is sharir. So what I need? What is I need? What does a mental health need? Mental health need happiness, trust, respect, relationship, prosperity, fearlessness in society, care, and love. This is all that I need. I means my soul needs, which is needed by our soul. Body is need by body. Body is basically a biological device which needs only food. So it is a biological device. A device like automobiles. It needs petrol to run on the roads. So basically here we can say that our body is a biological device. It needs foods to run and clothes to cover itself and house to live. A health which is more important. Like if you are running an automobile, you have to go to servicing every day, and like a certain period of time you have to make it servicing. So it is like health is more important to us so that our body can perform well. These all are material needs, and which is considered inside our body. What is what do you mean by I? So I is a soul, and its needs can be fulfilled by happiness, and happiness which comes under right understanding. Like if we try to understand human beings and other animals, we can understand them, then we can have happiness and a certain level of equality between all them, which will lead to happy life. And as far as I go on the body, there is a healthy body which can be achieved by medicine and money. Here, what do you mean by money? So money is basically when we need a thing, and we need a thing like materialistic thing like food and clothes. We need money to buy them. So this is it from this slide. I will moving further. So here is the Maslow's hierarchy. In this hierarchy, we go from bottom to top. Like we climb a mountain from bottom to top. So this is the hierarchy. We go from bottom to top. There is the first thing is physical, second thing is safety, third thing is love and belonging, fourth thing is esteem, and fifth thing is self-actualization. I will be covering more on this on the next slide. So, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So first thing, we go from below. First thing is physical, hunger, thirst, and sleep and comfort. Hunger, thirst, sleep, and comfort. These all are things that is physical needs. These are the physical needs and psychological needs. Safety. Safety means like when we go on a job, we need a safety about our money, that is salary, which comes around our pocket money, like things. Social and love. Love, both giving and receiving is necessary. It is not a sex. Love is not a sex. It is a feeling that I means our soul feels. Sex is different thing. That is a bodily thing. Like, and esteem like our self-esteem, desire of strength and achievement. This is all about self-esteem, and self-actualization is the highest level of the Maslow's hierarchy, which means our self-actualization, which means like ourself means our mental health, and our soul, which is the most important thing in our body, which is residing our body. So self-actualization is more important. We have to have that capacity to change ourselves into anything. Like someday we are thinking of suicide, and another day we have to change ourselves into a basic strong person, like that. This is all about self-actualization. So let us talk about where the problem arises. I, that is human being, human. That is I and body. Human, I means the soul, and body means sarir. So what are the problem that is faced by I, that is emotional thing. That is the problem that is faced by I is stress, anger, jealousy, misconception, unhappiness, and fear. This is all the things that is faced by our soul. And the problem faced by our body is fever, stomach pain, headache, diabetes, cancer, or we can add like injuries, bone fractures, etc. These are all bodily things which can be treated by the medicine or need of money. Like we have to, for bodily things we really need money, and for I things, that is soul things, we need happiness, right understanding, which comes like we have to communicate with the others people. Like when you are in stress, you have to communicate with the other people so that your stress can go down. And anger, when you are angry on someone, you don't have to scold them, like tell them what they have done wrong, and etc. So this is all for the need, and I have to add about something that we can think nowadays: justice and injustice with human body and soul. So I have previously discussed about body and I. Body is what we call biological device, and I means what we means like soul, our body. And justice can be done with the body by money, job, car, degree, and luxury life. These are the things that can do the justice for the body. Body is a materialistic thing, so these are all the materialistic things that come under the justice of a body. And injustice is basically injustice is what we are doing with our body, and we are not taking care of it. So it include like smoking, tobacco, drinking, depression, and suicide. These are all the things that come under bodily things. And let us talk about I, which is our soul. Our soul needs like justice, which contains love, care, respect, gratitude, happiness. These all are the things that can be felt by our soul. These are not materialistic things. These are the things that can be only felt by our soul. Injustice to our body, that is hate. When you hate someone, this is injustice to them. You can instead You can instead talk to them and what they have done wrong and try to convince them to not to do it again. Carelessness is also injustice to our body. Disrespect is also injustice. Arrogance and jealousy. These are the all things that we can fail. These are all things that our soul is that our soul feels. These are the injustice to our souls. So let me first talk about the injustice to our body. So justice to our body. Body is a materialistic thing, so we can do justice by adding some salads and fruit. When we go out to foods, like we have two kinds of foods, which is suitable for body and which is not suitable for our body. Salad, which is suitable for our body, it contains mineral and other antioxidant things which helps our body to function properly and which leads to longer life. And injustice, like when we eat fast food, it is excess of calorie which lead us to obese. And when obesity is there, there is many health issues. Like it is said that a disease arises from stomach. So obesity is the most basic problem of our injustice to food. Next thing when comes to body is justice and injustice. Justice that we can do with our body is juice. Like when we need food and liquid, our body consists of 70% of liquid. So what we can do is we can add juice to our diet. And what we can avoid is alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant, like it is told earlier by Bhavesh, like Nandalal and his team, that alcohol is a depressant which leads to health issues like kidney damage, liver damage, etc. So we can do justice by filling our body with juice and avoiding alcohol. Next thing that comes under body is meditation. It is more likely that body and soul that is connecting together. So that we can do about, there is a way that we can connect our body and soul together, which is meditation. So meditation is regularly, we can do meditation on the regular basis for the justice to our body. Injustice is depression. Like when we have too much stress, it leads to depression. Like we don't have anyone to share our things. We are dealing with some kind of traumas in daily basis which leads to depression. So instead of being in depression state, we have to do meditation so that we can go away from depression. So this is the bodily things, and which also contain the I thing, which is soul. Meditation is basically summing up both the things. And last thing on body is justice and injustice, like morning walk or yoga. Our body needs, like I have already told, like automobiles need servicing. So our body also needs servicing, like free to be on the real line of health, which is like morning walk or yoga. Yoga is art of awareness which canvas of body and soul. And sleeping. We all know that on these days of online, our sleeping schedule is so much disbalanced. Like we are sleeping at night, late night, and waking up late in the morning. Like I also have a bad sleeping habits, so I'm taking measures for it. So what we can do to our body is justice is we can wake up early in the morning and do yoga and pranayam, etc. Like in our college, there is a yoga classes also, and Suraj sir also have told us about the various yoga postures and various pranayams for our body to be fit. So basically, I have concluded all about the body, which was the materialistic or biological thing. So let's come into I, which means soul. So what we can do justice with our soul is like gratitude. Being thankful is a kind of gratitude which is justice to our body. We have to be thankful for for the others thing that they help and others thing that are really helpful in our life. Arrogant. And injustice is arrogant, like I don't need anyone, I am self-sufficient. These are the things of arrogance. We have to stay away from this. We all certainly needs anyone and some points, like we needs our parents. We are dependent on them till the age we reach our self job, etc. We are dependent on them. So arrogant mostly kills all these relationships. So we have to grateful for and thankful for it to God and our parents that they have given us so many things. Next thing is enlist, that is I for soul. Justice is respect. We have to respect each and every people. I don't like we don't have to disrespect our little brother and sisters. Like there is a something which can be done with our there is quote like जहाँ काम आए सुई वहाँ क्या काम आए तलवार. जहाँ सुई काम आता है वहाँ तलवार की जरूरत नहीं होती. So small thing is also needed. So we have to respect the small peoples and our teachers also, and everyone. We have to respect everyone's. In injustice, disrespect. Disrespect is disrespecting our elders and the other peoples. Like I have already said, जहाँ सुई काम आती है वहाँ तलवार का कोई काम नहीं. जो जहाँ सुई काम आती है वहाँ तलवार का कोई काम नहीं. इसलिए हमें सबकी रेस्पेक्ट करनी चाहिए. Next thing is justice and injustice on I, which is love. We should love everyone. We should. It is a biological thing and mental thing. Love is a mental thing. Sex is different thing, which is a biological thing, and love is a different thing, which we feel. So we have to love everyone, every human being, every animal here, so that the order should be maintained. And what is injustice to I, which is hate and anger, which destroys our soul. And there is a quote, आपकी आत्मा के परे कोई भी शत्रु नहीं है, असली शत्रु आपके भीतर रहते हैं. वो शत्रु हैं क्रोध, घमंड, लालच, आसक्ति और नफरत. These are all the things that comes under hate and injustice to our soul. Thank you. Thank you for giving me some time. And if you have any query, let's ask me. Thank you for your precious time and listening. Lakhan, over to you.
Sugam. Thank you, Sugam. That was a great and insightful presentation. So the next person which I want to invite is someone, when he just present himself, then he share lots of insights, and personally I love to listen him, Harkisan, and he will share about listening. So Harkisan, up to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be beginning my presentation in a short while, just when my screen comes up. All right, so is my screen visible?
Yes, Harkisan.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. I am here right now to shed some light on what is the importance of listening in forming good relations among individuals. Now, first up, before even beginning to think about relations, let's just see what our needs are as individuals. See, many people think that the basic needs that we have are traditionally roti, kapda and makan, which are food, clothes and shelter. However, as human beings, we also have a fourth need, which is good relations. You know, we need to be happy as human beings, and good relations are necessary for delivering happiness to us. Like some of my batchmates said earlier, it is the need of the soul to be forever happy, and for that happiness we need relations, which are mental things, not the physical facilities, right? So now we may ask, how do we get happiness? Now, happiness comes from relations. And how do relations come? Relations are based on understanding. When a guy understands another person, they form a relation. Understanding is the key to relations. And where does understanding come from? In order to understand a person, you need to know how the person feels. So knowledge gives rise to understanding, and understanding gives rise to relations. Hence, it becomes important for us to understand and to actually gain some knowledge about what the other person is going to say. Now, gaining knowledge of a person can be done via two ways. First, we can observe his actions. This thing just involves our sight and our listening and all that. The second way is an active way in which we will talk to that person or we read whatever he writes. So I am here to stress on the second aspect, which is more common, because more or less when we meet someone, we often go up to him or her and then we, start a conversation with them. So listening, I feel, is more or less the most common way of knowing a person. Now, while listening is really important, there are certain faults that most of us commit. And I admit that I have seen around 70% of people, myself included sometimes, who make these faults. Now, there are two different faults that we mostly make. First up, we ignore whatever the second person is going to say. After a certain time period, even in our best of our moods, we start ignoring whatever the person says. And the second fault which we make is that sometimes some people oppose everything that has been said by the speaker, every single thing, not even not even considering the worldview of the person who was speaking earlier. So accordingly, it has been said that we often listen not to understand, but we listen to reply. And I mean, it's a really relatable thing if you think about it, because all of us have just come out of our class 12s 2 years back, and all of us, I am sure, that would vividly remember debates that would be held in our schools. But I am not all that certain that most of us, would have seen some group discussion going on somewhere where opinions were actually respected. I mean, debates are something where you go on and cut someone's opinion, and you listen for that purpose only, to cut the opinion of the other guy. But as we grow older, I see that people need to discuss, and there is where the respecting of opinion comes in. Now, what happens when we do not listen? When we do not listen, two things happen. First up, we ignore a person, and when our turn comes, the person ignores us. So both sides get ignored, and due to that ignorance, first we feel bad because we were ignored, and the second person also feels bad because he was ignored by us. So basically, ignorance will lead to unhappiness, right? And the second thing is that we will block all the knowledge that would come from the second party to us. Not listening and ignoring someone will block up whatever he is going to say. So we'll have the closed mind, a closed mind that will not receive anything good. So those are the two major faults that we often, those are the two major drawbacks of not listening to a person. The next drawback I feel is that sometimes we listen, but we do not listen completely. So that lack of listening completely can, kind of give you the wrong impression about someone, leading to misunderstandings that can ruin existing relations. So, what mistake do we make? I mean, all of us would think that we are good listeners, right? We can hear it all right. We can comprehend whatever has been told to us. Then where is the mistake? Now, most of us are in the first stage, which is about hearing. We hear the sounds around us. We, our mind breaks them down in words and whatnot. And then we get a general grasp of whatever has been said. Then, now the next step would have been to analyze, but most of us, when we do not listen, we do not analyze what has been said to us. We just skip that analysis part. I mean, who will do that analysis? It's also time consuming, energy. Leave it. That's the kind of the mindset that most of us have. So we skip the analysis part. So skipping the analysis part, we go towards wrong understanding. So because we didn't analyze it, so we don't know what exactly, what is the complete picture. We don't know that. So we have a half understanding of whatever has been said. Based on that half understanding, when the time comes, we are supposed to judge whether or not we are supposed to accept it or not. So when we are asked to judge, we basically randomly choose. To be frank enough, we randomly choose our decision based on certain other aspects than what was told. For example, if there was something objective was being told to us, facts were being presented, and then we were supposed to give our decision on it. And if we were not listening, then we wouldn't remember the facts, and our judgment would surely not be based on the facts that was presented in front of us. So we would accept without a good reason, or we would reject without a good reason. In both cases, firstly, we'll be unsatisfied, because when we look back at it, we'll find that, right, I made a wrong decision. That kind of feeling would come to us. And the speaker would also be really disappointed, because he would feel that all of his point of speaking was wasted. And all of the energy he put in it was simply wasted because his listener didn't hear. That did not achieve its effect, right? So basically, due to all of this process and skipping that analysis part, will cause unhappiness to every single individual that has been involved in the communication process. What we should be doing should be really clear by now. We should be rather analyzing. We should hear first, then we should analyze. We should separate the verbal fluff and all the decorative words from the statements and the facts from the statement, and then base our judgment on facts, right? When we have the facts in our hand, then we'll go to acceptance. Acceptance, either we accept it or we deny it. But in both the cases, this time we'll see the reason. Why do we accept it or why do we deny it? Because we have a proper reason. If the person gets his opinion denied, then we can tell him that, see, this was the reason of me not believing in you, or not going by whatever has been said by you. So in this case, the speaker would be satisfied that at least he was heard. At least his purpose was fulfilled, that he said something and the second party heard and thought about it at least. So listener is satisfied, and the speaker is satisfied, and also the listener will be satisfied because of two things: that he gained knowledge, and the second thing was that he made the right decision according to him based on the facts. So both parties will be satisfied. See how happy people would become doing this. So knowing how good listening is and what we should be doing, let's just look into why don't we listen. I mean, कभी कभार ऐसा होता है यार, हमें मतलब सुनने का मन तो रहता है लेकिन हम सुनते नहीं हैं. For some reason, we do not listen. So what are those reasons? Now, I would like to stress upon the behavioral aspects more, because those are in stricter control of ours. Those are more in our hands and can be molded in a better way by us, I suppose. So the first aspect which I saw was ego. Now, ego in this context is that having the feeling that you know everything. A person would feel that I know everything, then why should I listen to the second person? Now, this is one thing, that is ego. And related to ego is the superiority complex, wherein a person says, see, I am senior to the speaker, so why should I listen to him? Because I am senior, I would know more. So ego and superiority complex are kind of linked, and such people, I feel, should remember that no one can be perfect. Accordingly, no one's knowledge can be perfect, and also knowledge can come from anywhere, from anyone, despite or regardless of them being junior to you or senior to you, rank wise. So such people should keep their minds open, at least try to do so. Over time, they'll develop a habit of listening, for sure. The third hurdle which I saw was about the lack of time. This is a really, this is a really practical problem that often arises, that people just don't have the time for listening to the speaker. So lack of time, I suppose, can be tackled by better time management, and that can be done based on the severity of the information. For example, if the information being conveyed to you is of high priority, then it is really necessary that you stop your work for a minute and listen out whatever needs to be heard. You cannot postpone it then. However, if it can be managed, or if it is rather less severe, then it's okay. You can postpone the listening part, and you can just postpone the conversation altogether. But surely you should continue it later on. Okay. Then the fourth major hurdle which I saw was something which I came across a lot while studying the people around me, especially in my neighborhood and everywhere else. It is basically about our belief system and pre-existing notions that we have. Now, human brain scientifically is a really efficient machine, and it looks for ways to conserve energy, biologically speaking. So people, instead of amending their opinions, instead of changing them in the light of new facts, people try to only hear those things which confirm to their pre-existing beliefs. For example, if someone says that, well, um, uh, the green dress is quite good, but you see, I like the color red a lot, so naturally I would resist it a bit. So that resistance, now this was a really petty example, I mean, but in certain scenarios, this confirmation bias becomes a really deciding factor, where people, hear only those parts which confirm to their pre-existing beliefs, nothing else. जो मेरे लिए सही है मैं वही सुनूंगा बस. That's it. That's all the thing people do. So such people, I feel, should remember that, they can also be wrong. Their belief system has been formed based on their experiences, but but the interpretations that that guy made of his circumstances can also be wrong, right? The belief system that the guy has can also be wrong. So when you hear new opinions, you get opportunities to analyze your belief system, and so you should, try your best to listen to whatever new comes to you, from whomsoever it may come. Next, let's come on respecting opinion. Now, I made this particular slide in the light of one single statement which we commonly come across in Hindi. In Hindi, we often say like, suppose if my mother wants me to close a door, and if I don't do it, then my mother would say, she won't say that उसने दरवाजा बंद नहीं किया. She would say something like, उसने मेरी बात नहीं सुनी. Now, सुनना and करना are two different things, right? Similarly, respecting an opinion and accepting an opinion are two different things. When you respect an opinion, you hear it out, you analyze it, and you understand it. You don't implement it. I don't mean that you necessarily implement it. You don't go with it just to respect it. Accepting is going with it. Accepting is based on your judgment, and listening and respecting something is based on listening. So those are two different things, right? Next, the approach which I told you of listening, which is hear, analyze, judge, and then respond, is scientifically called active listening. Now, active listening can be really helpful, especially in relationship development, because when a person, when a listener practices active listening, firstly, the speaker is satisfied because he was heard. The fact that the listener analyzed whatever the speaker said proves that speaker's energy was not wasted. At least he will be satisfied in that. Secondly, the listener will gain more knowledge by seeing new facts and figures in front of him. And finally, the rejection of someone's opinion becomes much more acceptable, because while rejecting, you will give them the proper reason to do so, right? The other benefits of active listening are that it can help you increase your mental capacity, because you will be analyzing things a lot. Second thing is that it can be extended to reading as well. You read something, judge it, read something, analyze it, judge it, and then you respond or think whether or not to accept it at all. Then it can help you to be less biased. When you base your decisions solely on facts that are being presented in front of you, then you will be much less biased and not go on your own belief system. And these are two benefits. These are the three benefits which I felt would be really good for active listening. So finally, in my conclusion part, I would like to emphasize yet again that listening is an essential process for understanding a person, which is in turn necessary for developing good relations. Developing good relations depends on listening, and listening can be enhanced by avoiding all the pitfalls that I just mentioned earlier, which included ego, superiority complex, and most importantly, the confirmation bias. Then we should remember that the right way to listen is to hear, analyze, judge, and respond. Finally, although there are many hurdles to listening, we should try our best to overcome those hurdles and make ourselves better listeners. Thank you, and I wish you good luck for practicing the art of active listening. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Arkisan. This was really wonderful presentation.